This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, so we continue in Hoshea. Let's finish Parak Yud Aleph and point out what we learned last week. Last week we learned about the lions, the man-eating lions of Tzava. Right? Remember that? So let's read again Pasuk Yud. Acharei Hashem yelchu. After God they will go. Ka'aryeh yishag. He will roar like a lion. Kihu yishag. He will roar. V'yacherdu banu miyam, and the children will stir from the west. Rashi says, V'yiskanshon galvasa mimarava. The exiles will stir from the west. We understood this to mean that the day will come that even the Jews in America will return to Eretz Yisrael. You might ask, how could it be? Jews in America, Jews in New York are going to leave and go to Eretz Yisrael? Is that such a thing possible? Yes. How do I know that? Because it's a prophecy. Where's the prophecy? That even Jews in America are going to return to Israel. Parak Yud Aleph Pasuk Yud Hoshea. It says, Kihu Yishag, God will roar. There will be a major event. V'yecherdu banu miyam, and his children will stir from the west. That's us, friends, because there's nobody else left. Everybody else has already made the smart decision of going back to Eretz Yisrael, except for us, who for whatever reason we don't have enough seichel to go there yet. Okay, Pasuk, but Baruch Hashem, there is a prophecy that we will return there, hopefully soon. Parak, Pasuk Yud Aleph. Yecherdu chetzipar mi Mitzrayim. They will stir like a bird from Egypt. Uchiyoyna me Eretz Asher, and like a dove from Assyria. V'hoishavtim al bateyem, I will settle them in their homes. No'um Hashem, says God. So I ask you, friends, here is the prophecy of our return to Israel. Me and you, right? Here we are. You want to know, where are we in the Tanakh? Here we are. We're in America. We're in the West. We're the last ones who haven't gone. God's going to roar, and we're going to return. So what does Hashem say He's going to do when we return? He's going to give us houses. Like, is that really so critical and important that we're going to have houses? We're going to go to Israel, and if we rent, if we lease, we have to go into houses. Let's say it's an apartment. Well, no, you can go into houses. Why the emphasis on the houses? That's what it says here. V'haishavtim al batehem ne'um Hashem. There's a tefillah that we say. V'hashev ka, you know that? Kohanim la'avoidasam ayu leviim liyeshiram ulezimram v'hashev Yisrael v'hashev Yisrael linveihem. Right? Beautiful nigun. Yehuda Green sings Shlomo Kalbach, right? Okay, but that's one of the. We say that in Musaf. It's not a song. It's a tefillah. But think about the tefillah. V'hashev kohanim la'avoidasam. The kohanim are going to return to their avodah. Okay, that's great. Raise your hand if you're a kohen, wannabe kohen, aspiring kohen. Right? Kohanim, we want them to go back to their avodah. Uleviim, raise your hand if you're a Levi. Tu Leviim, now we're talking. L'shiram u'lezimram. They're going to sing on the duchen, right? And what are the Jews going to do? V'hashev Yisrael lin. And what are the Jews going to do? We're going to go back to houses. If we play the game, one of these things don't belong here. The Kohanim go to their avodah, the Leviim go to the shira, and the Jews go to their houses. Says the Brisker Rav, this is very important that the Jews go back to their houses. Why? Because there's a Tosfos in Psachim. The Tosfos in Psachim talks about Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira, who was not Oile Regel. Herstamaisa, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira did not do the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel. Why not? Why not? Why was Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira? Why wasn't he Oile Regel? It's a Tosfos in Psachim. And for Tosfos like Avi saying that in order to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel, you need to own real estate.
Although the people in Ola Regel own real estate in Yerushalayim?
In Eretz Yisrael.
Oh, if you don't answer, then you couldn't go to Yerushalayim?
No, you could go, you don't get the mitzvah. You don't get the mitzvah. Tosfos Shita is that if you don't own house in Eretz Yisrael, there is no mitzvah of Aliyah Regel. You don't live in Eretz Yisrael.
That's where it comes observing one.
You don't live in Eretz Yisrael. You got to own land.
What if you own it and you don't use it?
No, you could be Mekayim the mitzvah. You don't have to live there.
You own an apartment in Yerushalayim, but you're only there 3 weeks a year.
Doesn't matter. If you own real estate, you could be Mekayim the mitzvah Aliyah L'Regel. By the way, some places can say there's still mitzvah Aliyah L'Regel B'zman Hazeh. What? Yeah, and people do go up. But Tosfos' Chiddush is, in order to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel, you need to own real estate. Says the Brisker Rav, that's Pshan the Tefillah. V'hashev kohanim l'avaydasam. V'leviim l'shim azurim. V'hashev Yisroel l'nveim. V'sham na'lev v'nei ra'ah. And then they will do Aliyah L'Regel. That's the Chiddush
Does
of...
that mean the Kohanim leaving don't need to own real estate? They don't have real estate.
They don't have.
They could buy, and if they don't buy...
No, I don't know. I think you have to have Yerusha ba'aretz. Now, let me tell you another Chiddush. Comes the Vilna Gaon, and the Vilna Gaon says, what do you mean Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira doesn't own real estate? How's that possible? Every Jew owns real estate in Eretz Yisrael because Eretz Yisrael was neschalik l'shvatim. Everybody has ancestral land. Everyone has a share. Why would he have not owned real estate? The Gra says the davar nifla. Okay. No, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. The Gra says the davar nifla. Who is Eretz Yisrael given to? Either to Machlokes Basra, the Yotzei Mitzrayim, it was divided those who left Egypt, or the Ba'i Ha'aretz. So you got to come into one of those two categories. Nope, he doesn't. Why is that? There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, in Chelak. The Gemara says Yecheskel had a prophecy about the dry bones. And the Gemara wants to know, who are these dry bones that Yecheskel revived? They were the dry bones of the Mapilim, of the children of Ephraim, who entered Eretz Yisrael 30 years before Yetzias Mitzrayim. We know that we were supposed to be in Mitzrayim 400 years. So if you calculate 400 years from the Bris Bein HaBesarim, they would have left 30 years early, and they did. The Bnei Ephraim made an improper calculation. Instead of calculating 400 years from the birth of Yitzchak, they calculated 400 years from the Bris Bein HaBesarim. They tried to go into Eretz Yisrael 30 years early, and the Bnei Ephraim were killed out. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira gets up and says, the dry bones in the prophecy of Yecheskel were the Bnei Ephraim who left Mitzrayim 30 years early. And I'm a descendant of theirs, and here are the tefillin that my great-grandfather left me. He's one of the dry bones that Yecheskel brought back to life. What do we see from here? Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira descended from who? The Bnei Ephraim, the Mapilim, who left early. They were not Yotzei Mitzrayim, and they were not Boi Haaretz. They therefore have no chelek in Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, that's how Tosfos could say that Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira did not have land in Eretz Yisrael, because he wasn't mi Yotzei Mitzrayim and he wasn't mi Boi Haaretz. But this is the prophecy of Hoshea, that when the Jews of America wake up, God will stir them like a bird from Egypt, like a yoina from Ashur. And where will God place us? Homes, in homes. Why is that so important? Because if you're in Israel and you don't have a home, there's no point in being there. Not that there's no point, but you're not liable. You are not under the category of those who could be mekayim the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel. I believe you have to own. Now, what's going to be, when Mashiach comes, I'm sure there will be all kinds of real estate opportunities for people to take advantage of. But save up. I doubt it's, Yeah, but it's interesting, right? Look at this. Look at this prophecy. Yechardu chetzipar. Now, let's focus on these words. Yechardu chetzipar mi Mitzrayim. The Metzudas David says, they will come from Egypt swiftly, like a bird, and like a yoina that swiftly flies. v'hoishavtim, and I will situate them securely in their homes. This is the great prophecy of V'hashev Yisroel L'neveim Noam Hashem. This is the promise of God, and this is the prophecy of our return to Eretz Yisrael. Let's just see the Radak. The Radak says, Yachardu. What does Yachardu? Inyan Tnua. It means to move, to stir. Kamay vayachardu ziknei ha'ir l'krasai. The elders of the city stirred toward him. Madua charada ta'ilenu is called charada azos. Basically, what the Radak is bothered by is, what does it mean what does charada mean literally? Charada means? Exactly. But that's not the precise meaning here. What the Radak is saying is, Yechardu means more to move and to stir than to fear. Like, remember when the Isha Hashunamis said, Madua charad ta'ilenu is called charada hazois. Why do you make this whole efforts for it? Why do you turn over the world for me? So it doesn't only mean fear and trembling, it also means to be active. Now he says, V'achochem Rav Ibn Ezra, Perush, Miyam, Masha Pirush Achar Kein Mitzrayim V'Ashur, Kihem Ma'aravis Droimis. That the west, according to the Ibn Ezra, refers to Egypt, which is southwest. But, right, if you look in the Ibn Ezra, he says that Mitzrayim is a description of Miyam.
Why does the bird tremble coming out of Mitzrayim? What makes Mitzrayim so fearful for a bird? Fast? Why from Mitzrayim?
No, that just means that those are some of the countries that they're going to return from. And the Radak says, V'zochar Mitzrayim v'Ashur v'adin l'shar mekayimos. Or they'll come from everywhere. Ela shezachar mekayim shechashvu le'azar bahem. It just mentions the countries that the Jews thought they would receive help from. V'nichshul bahem, and they therefore stumbled. V'golu aleim, and they were exiled too. Okay, let's just see the Malbim here. V'chein yechardu kitzipar latseis mi Mitzrayim, v'yechardu ki yoyno latseis me'eretz Ashur, ki hayoyno yesh mimina shehem akirmes v'gam mercha grav moed. Why we compare to a yoyna? This is like, what do they call it? A homing dove. A homing pigeon. What's a homing pigeon? They could be 1,000,000 miles away. They're somehow programmed. Whenever they need to, they could return home. So to the Jew, a Jew could be so far, they could even be in the 5 towns. And still, when Mashiach comes, they'll realize they could return to their home. V'chein gam ha'oivdim bi'eretz Ashur, shehim kruyim oivdim. Why are they called lost? V'mnei shesrachaku ma'od, k'masher kasav, gam him yechardu lashav l'kinam, v'az v'haishavtim el bateim, v'aviyam b'chazara la'eretz Yisrael. Okay, we should see this nevuah be niskayim. One more little short one.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.